Hello, my name is Dominique Honore, and today I will be discussing the steps in the SPQR um, process. The first step is to question. And in questioning, you want to first introduce yourself as a counselor, especially if you have not ever sat with a student before, and let the student know that you're bringing them in because you were concerned about them. You received a referral. There is a script provided that I will be reading at this point. So first, I want to review the situation that brought the student in to me, and then I will read the script. I care about you, and it's my job to ensure that you're always safe and that all of my students are safe. I want to let you know that everything that we discussed today will be confidential. However, if you disclose something to me that you want to harm yourself or you may want to harm others, then I will have to disclose that information to administration. And because again, my goal is to make sure that you're safe. I'm going to ask you a few questions. There are no right or wrong answers, and I want you to understand that you're not in trouble. I talk to kids all the time, and sometimes the things that we talk about may be uncomfortable to them. But I want you to know that you're safe, and everything that you say to me, I'm going to take seriously. It is very important that you're honest with me and that you're honest on the questionnaire and you answer the questions honestly because that's going to help me get with you and we can together work together to create a plan that will keep you safe. Would you please, I'm going to give you a form. Would you please go ahead and fill that out for me? And then once you have filled it out, we can talk about your answers. So once you have basically said something like that, that was provided in the script, the next thing you do is to hand out the questionnaire to the student. On the questionnaire, you can either um, say the questions to the student, like read them out and have their answers verbally, or you can hand them to them. In my experience with older kids, it's probably best to hand them the form, and they may be inclined to be more honest if you're not asking them the questions. So once the student has created has done the form, then it's my job as a counselor to score the form. When scoring the questionnaire, if the score can range from 3 to 18. If the student scores a 7 or higher, then that shows a risk of the student wanting to harm themselves or harm themselves. They are a suicide risk, and that has to be taken seriously. And the parents need to be notified, as well as getting the parents um, some resources like the National Suicide Hotline, which the National Suicide Hotline and Prevention Line is 1-800-273-8255. Um, and and counselors always have to remember that we are not assessing risk level. And anytime a student tells you that they want to hurt themselves, or you get a referral of a student wants to hurt themselves, you have to take it seriously, and you always want to report that to a parent. And that's not just with a phone call; that's also with a face to face. So maybe having the parent come in to sit with you and the student, and for you guys to discuss what the student disclosed to you. So when the student finishes the form, you can go through the form with the student. So some of the questions are: have you ever thought about trying to kill yourself? If the student says yes, then you should speak to them, get information that if the student has if a student says yes, that's one thing. But if the student also says yes and the student gives you yes, I plan to do it this way, that way, this way, then you definitely have to right then take that seriously and make sure that you make a referral for that student. You want to ask the student how many times. Another question is, how many times have you thought about killing yourself? Have you ever told someone else that you wanted to kill yourself? Do you think you might kill yourself someday? Um, have you ever thought about, do you have a plan on how you would, you know, want to harm yourself? So, yes, so after scoring that and receiving that score of again 7 or higher, that requires a conversation with the parent and the immediate steps, which would be to refer the parent to the suicide hotline or any other local resources that you may have for suicide. Currently in our school district, what we do, we have this program called Stop It. And with Stop It, it is a actual what's the word, technical program. So it's um, it's it's connected to the students' uh, email. So if any words come through that say harmful words, suicide, runaway, all of those things, we automatically receive a email to the counselors and to the admin team, and it allows us to be able to jump right on to these issues. Um, so yeah, so with the so first again, it is to question. Second, it is to persuade, and that's meaning persuading the student to get help. So making sure that you're contacting the parent, you're talking to the student about the suicidal ideations, and you persuade them to want to receive help. And last, you refer the student to if it's very serious where the student actually has a plan, then you may want to call once you contact the parents, you also may want to contact the emergency room or hospital, somebody from the hospital, the ER, you so the student can get more evaluation. So those are the current steps of the SBQR process.